Hi, Jim McRitchie here. I filed a lot of shareholder proposals and I've been blogging at corpgov.net for 30 years. Got some advice for the SEC IAC. The SEC should focus on one core priority for retail investors: protect and amplify the voice of ordinary shareholders so proxy voting remains a genuine two-way dialogue, not a monologue from management. I've submitted 3 documents highlighting different pressure points. Document A explains Rule 14A8 thresholds. They limit proponents to the top 1 to 3% of the wealthiest people in America. This is based on realistic portfolio sizes, diversification, and holding period requirements. Millions are encouraged to engage through phone apps and pass-through voting. But voting is meaningless without real choices. Without shareholder proposals, it's just uncontested slates and boilerplate items unless we fight for control. So, number 1 piece of advice: don't raise the thresholds. Proposals are essential to trust and participation in the market. Document B outlines that retail owns about 30% of the shares, but only votes about 10%. It's cumbersome. Meanwhile, institutions cast votes automatically, often consistently across issuers. It's much easier for them. Exxon's auto voting, blessed in a no-action letter, illustrates the asymmetry. Retail shares can now be automatically voted with management at Exxon, even though Rule 14A-4 on its face prohibits this practice. So, second piece of advice: ask the Commission to modernize proxy rules to allow retail investors to use standing voting instructions, SVIs, that reflect their preferences, and I outline a number of safeguards. This will put retail investors on a level playing field for voting with institutional investors. Document C from the Shareholder Rights Group addresses an acute threat. The framework that's governed shareholder proposals for 80 years is being dismantled. So we request the IAC urge restoration of substantive no-action review, or at a minimum, systematically gather data on the consequences of its suspension. Secondly, reaffirm that advisory proposals are proper subjects for shareholder action. Third, clarify the narrow circumstances in which state law can preempt Rule 14A-8. And last, in this batch, commit to transparent rulemaking rather than underground regs through speeches or staff bulletins. In summary, don't further restrict who can file proposals. Give retail investors the tools to vote consistently through SVIs, and stabilize the federal framework that's allowed shareholders, managers, and boards to engage in constructive dialogue for generations. If the Commission pursues those 3 priorities, it'll protect the rights and voice of today's investors, sustaining the legitimacy of the system for millions of shareholders now entering our markets. Thank you, and I would be happy to discuss these proposals.